Now, this is another story, another article about intrusive memories of perpetrators of violent crime. 46% of the 105 young offenders, these were people under 30, reported distressing intrusive memories, which is a symptom of PTSD, while 6% were diagnosed with PTSD, suggesting that perpetrators of violent crime are subject to developing PTSD symptoms. So the fact that Ms. Arias was a perpetrator of a horrendous crime is not out of step with my diagnosis of her having PTSD. Ms. Arias was a perpetrator of a horrendous crime.
Okay, so so in other words, and when you say perpetrator, in other words, she's the person, she's admitted that she's the one who killed Travis.
She admitted.
And we're not talking about the reasons why, okay,
Right.
at this point. But based on that fact alone, it's still very possible that she can suffer from PTSD just because she's the one who did the killing.
Yes, and again, having worked with a population where violence was involved with police officers and so forth, I can attest to the fact that the percentages are probably a little bit higher than this particular study, but I wasn't doing a study, so I can't report my data.
Okay, and when you said, you mentioned your study with, or you're working with police officers, and in those situations, obviously that wasn't, they weren't considered necessarily crimes when a police officer shot somebody.
That was the traumatic experience.
Okay, and so you were working with those police officers with regard to their traumatic experiences.
Yes. Ms. Arias was a perpetrator of a horrendous crime,